on for county first responders, just something amazing. And it was all free to the families. And since my husband is also a first responder spouse, I mean, I'm a first responder spouse. What am I saying? First responder, it was so important to be a part of this. And not only the part that I'm getting paid to do, but to serve. I was there in the morning, met Ben, watched what he was doing, was unloading boxes, and each of my children gave back. They gave time. But I have one child particularly that literally gave all of his day at this event that really was also supposed to be some family time. So Ben, I consider, was like the boss of my son. He was one of the lead volunteers. So Ben, tell us a little bit how you got involved with Chesterfield Gives Back.
I had the honor and pleasure of working with Chesterfield Gives Back. I met Adam. It all starts with something online that usually always doesn't turn out well. Like I met someone online, we just kind of messaged back up and forth, and we just kind of connected. Adam just takes a real good charge with Chesterfield Gives Back, just giving back to first responders all the time. But not only that, I love how they infiltrate their families into it too, because yes, the first responders definitely give a lot, but it's also sometimes we don't realize and think about the first responders, their families take a real big toll on it as well. So when we're honoring them, that really hit home for me as well, because the sacrifices they make. So
you mentioned when you came to volunteer that day, you were representing an organization. Can you share that with me?
So I run a nonprofit called Gopher Ministries. We're a 501c3, and what we do is we're a gopher to other organizations. So our number one thing is always respect the visionary. When we go into organization, we want to make sure that we can understand the vision. Sometimes we go on autopilot and like, oh, I've been to a food bank here, so I know what I'm doing.
Right.
But each individual place has a special ordained purpose, and it's a culture.
Yes.
So when we get into an organization and we come into an organization, we need to hear the needs. We're going to hear the environment, and we want to make sure that we're respecting the leadership that's in place and not trying to start something different. And we got to be very respectful for the leadership that's in place and how they do things. So one of the things is our main focus is in three categories: is resources, connecting other organizations, so there's collaborations, as well as respecting individuality of each organization. I'm to the point where right now where I'm so happy sometimes to hear the word no that it's not a maybe. So I can move on to the next person, because we're not all supposed to work together sometimes. We have our own vision and we need to respect that. So we connect other organizations together. We do manpower, so we collaborate resources together. And the last one is equipment. So we do, all sorts of tents and tables and, grills and, so we have all that. We are a 501c3 ourselves, and we just love to be able to provide that to the different organizations.
So if you're a first responder out there and you're listening, just know that this gentleman had a big piece of helping that event be successful. So I did want to say, as a first responder spouse, thank you. Because it wasn't just you gave time, but you gave equipment, and you made a connection and connected everybody with purpose, but you also gave my son purpose that day. And honestly, my kids eat and breathe the missions of my husband and I, and they believe in service before self, and you are walking that. So thank you for doing that. How does it, when you volunteer, how was your experience, or how was your experience helping that day? What did you feel like? Did you feel like you were being tasked all day? Because I know you were working hard.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's the thing is getting to know yourself. That's the first step. A lot of times when we go and we're afraid to, like, okay, when I go and volunteer, what am I going to be doing?
Yes.
So it's finding that connection of, okay, what are my spiritual gifts, and how can I